New York Comic Con 2024. Was it a dud or did it live up to expectations? What is shaking YouTube? I am your host, Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and like always, welcome back to the show. Today is my coverage of New York Comic Con 2024. I did put out a video earlier this week, comic book community news. If you guys haven't watched that, make sure after you watch this video, you go back and check it out because there's some great interviews I had with CGC, Comic Link, a few dealers, and so on and so forth. With that said, I'm going to show you a little bit of the show floor, some of the books, original art, some toys, everything that was there at New York Comic Con this year. I did not go nuts, and I will explain why at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around. So there you have it, a little bit of the show floor, a lot of amazing books on display, most via auction for the bigger auction houses, but I did show you guys also the new PSA Slab in detail. If you guys haven't checked out other video I did on New York Comic Con, the CBC News one, make sure you check that out. Some great coverage of the new slab from PSA and my thoughts. But with that said, I have been to the past 4 New York Comic Cons, and it seems every year since then it's gotten a little bit worse. Years back, I went to like the first couple of New York Comic Cons when I first started, and then I took a long break and then started going again. But like I just said, every year it gets a little bit worse. Last year, my experience was that I went there Thursday and Friday. I thought Thursday was out of control. I could not move. The lines were outrageous. So Friday was much better last year, where you can move a little bit. I can get in and look for some of the comics I was looking for, as opposed to this year where I just went Friday just for that reason. And Friday was an unmitigated disaster. I'm not going to lie to you guys. There were lines all over the place, blocking the aisles. You could not get around. I was there right from the get-go, from probably around 9:30. They opened at 10. We walked around the show floor, did a bunch of interviews, talked to a bunch of people, and it was okay till about 12 o'clock. Still really tight moving around, but once it hit 12, forget about it. We could not move in the aisles. We could not get into any boxes. I could not do much filming. It was just crazy. Now, if people were just there to kind of look and spectate, yes, they do clog the aisles at time, but most of the issues were for the exclusive variants or maybe artists they had on the top floor that were signing in that area. You could not move. The Peach Momoko line was literally almost, I think, wrapped around the entire building. It was insane. I think she wasn't even there. It was just like the Spawn exclusive that she was doing there. Crazy. People were just lined up and it did not stop. They weren't moving. Everybody was bumping into one another. It was just a disaster in my opinion. Now, I've said this before in other New York Comic Con videos that they have Artist Alley downstairs, which is pretty good. Why do they have some of the artists upstairs? Why can't they contain everybody downstairs so the lines are only forming in one place? Because if you're trying to look at wall books, if you're trying to walk around the show, look in the bins, you really have no room. I tried to get many more interviews from my LCS Zap Comics. They could not even talk to me because it was that crazy packed. I tried to get Heritage Comics. Unfortunately, they declined my interview. I was supposed to have an interview with Vince from Comic Connect. He agreed to do one, but he was super crazy. His booth was nuts. People looking at all great books. So it was just like insane. I know a lot of people aren't going there to do interviews, to go in there to sell books, but the fact that people couldn't walk around because of all these crazy lines, and it wasn't just comic lines, there were other lines people looking in to go into certain displays that they had, but I don't know. Just this year just felt like craziness. It didn't feel like the other experiences that I've had at New York Comic Con in years past. And I've had great times at New York Comic Con. I look forward to it every year. But the past 2 years have really been a disappointment. Not because some of the books, I got to tell you, I saw some amazing books at the show this year from the few that I was able actually to see. But a lot of great wall books. I couldn't dig in any of the bins. Not that I'm really looking for much, but it was just crazy pack. So I want to hear from everybody out there who went to New York Comic Con this year. What were the prices like? Because I couldn't even go and talk to anybody, any of the dealers, try to get prices on anything because they were just mobbed. You couldn't get around people. Like I said, it was just not a great time. I ended up leaving the show at 2 o'clock. That's how early I left because I'm walking around for like 2 hours and I'm like, we can't do anything. So like, why are we hanging around here? So I was there literally from the show opened at 10 o'clock to 2 p.m., only 4 hours. A bonus thing, I actually met somebody there who I've never met before. We did a small trade, which we'll get to at another point. But other than that, the show did some great interviews, which you can go ahead and see on CBC News. Of course, we make fun of a few things, of course, from New York Comic Con. That's the whole part of CBC News. But other than that, not a great experience for me. I didn't see a lot of people I recognized in the community either, which I really look forward to. I saw the Pressable Defects over at their booth with Very Gary. And really, that's about it. I didn't see anybody else that I was going to see. So again, not a great experience for me from New York Comic Con. You saw the amazing original art. You saw some of the amazing comics they had on display. Crazy to see a few Action Comics ones on display at New York Comic Con. Usually maybe only see one. I think there was probably even 2 or 3. A bunch of Superman ones, Batman ones, some great Golden Age comics, along with a bunch of Silver Age. Keynote, A lot of the dealers that I did speak to think that the Silver Age market will come back. They're focusing on major keys, including the Golden Age as well. So Silver and Golden Age keys, they do think will bounce back. But other than that, I spoke to a few dealers who said the run filler books, all the other books, they see these books continuing to decline in value. That was the main takeaway that I took from speaking to a lot of people out there. So again, this is my experience, New York Comic Con 2024. Not a great one from my perspective, but I want to hear from anyone out there who went this year, what you thought, what was your favorite part of the show, and any bad points that you did have New York Comic Con 2024. So like always, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles saying thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I'll talk to you guys soon.